Hey guys, it's me, Vanessa Espinoza again. This time, I'm coming at you guys with another really cool world implemented idea that I was working through for Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I know Warner Brothers still owns these guys, and Disney and Warner Brothers are in competition. But here's how I think the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series could work as a world idea for Kingdom Hearts 3. The first plot is Duelist Kingdom, right? Now, if I was going two-sided, it could start out with the usual, Yugi's grandfather's soul getting captured, but this time, he meets Sora at school before all of this happens. Sora's a transfer student. And this time, when they meet up, they find out about Maximilian Pegasus getting the package from Industrial Illusions, and then here comes the Soul Steal. Now, Sora at first is thinking, Pegasus, something about you just great. And then, because Sora wouldn't be wrong, because Pegasus is technically a bad guy. But it's better than his usual, hey, this guy seems nice, It's better than that, because we're all getting sick and tired of that. But here's the thing that is the clincher. When Pegasus steals Yugi's grandfather's soul after their duel, of course, this duel would be, this duel would not be playable. This would be a cutscene duel because of the fact that, well, obviously the time clock is only 15 minutes. Well, Sora joins up with the team to save Yugi's grandfather. Explains that he was sent there by the king, but doesn't go into too much explicit detail as to how the king knows these guys. Maybe they could throw something in there like, the king ended up being friends with Yugi's grandfather at one point. But it was never mentioned in the series. Like all the other stuff that's never been mentioned. But, then again, there's a lot we can throw in here. So we start off we get on the boat to Duelist Kingdom after school. Sora, of course, is tagging along. Well, once we get to the grounds, Yugi's first duel is against Weevil Underwood after losing Exodia. But instead of Joey jumping in the river to get Yugi's Exodia cards, Sora jumps in the river using his mermaid form. Or dolphin form, as a lot of us like to call it. And then, after he manages to get at least 3 of the Exodia pieces, the tide sweeps away the other 2. But here's the thing. After Sora climbs up the ladder and they finish the journey and get all the way to Duelist Kingdom, Weevil was still up to his same tricks, like, throwing in the Exodia cards, whatever. But Sora doesn't interject. He just jumps into the water to tries to retrieve the cards. But we get to the island and we end up falling for Weevil's trap. This, of course, will be a playable duel. But as we're getting there, the bugs and stuff that they encounter could be different Heartless. Not like we haven't fought Bug Heartless before. I mean, come on! Gigabyte Minutes, I still consider him a bug. Even though he is a robotic praying mantis, I still consider him a bug. So yeah, we technically have fought Bug Heartless before. Well, Bug Dream Eaters, but you get the point. So this could introduce a new breed of Heartless. And then, we can easily transition from there to another random duel, which is where we see Riku. After the duel with Mokuba, Riku decides to tag along to help them in whatever predicament they're trying to do, return the kids' star chips. But we end up losing the star chips, but Sora's too slow to beat the guard. But this time he doesn't go into the water and retrieve the star chips. Anyway, we fight our way through, and then we get to, of course, you know, when we're not dueling, we end up fighting different Heartless, and we could have a boss battle, or a mini-boss per se, against, Croquet for capturing Mokuba. If I win, you let him go, so to speak. If I win, you let him go, tell me who you're working for, and all that jazz. Well, after a few hard duels, including the one where we get up to the castle and Kaiba doesn't let us pass. But this time, instead of Sora being, you know, playable, we could have... This is the part where Riku ends up as playable, and we could end up, you know, fending off, trying to help Yugi talk some sense into Kaiba. Like, dude, this is not the right way. But when he finally decides, when Kaiba finally decides to get up on the edge, Yugi's like, okay, Sora, Riku, I know one of you using the powers of magic can fly. So do something, get behind Kaiba and catch him. But then they decide that the attack isn't exactly worth it to execute. So we just go through it that way. Or another scenario is Yugi can still do the attack, but, you know, have a plan B if Kaiba falls. You know, having Sora or Riku catch him. You know, so he doesn't succeed in his plan after all. But either way, Kaiba and his cheap shottedness, you know, still wins. And we end up losing just because we didn't want to hurt him. But yet, he's still an inconsiderate jerk, Kaiba is. And then, you know, Taya comes in with her speech. Kaiba, he showed you compassion, which is more than you deserve. You spend so much time with your machines, you forgot what being human is about. Yugi has a heart, Kaiba. Yugi has us, friends who will stick by him until the very end, no matter whether he wins or loses some lousy game. And you, what do you have said, oh Kaiba? What do you have during the day? At the end of the day, tell me. He snags Yugi's starships and says, I have all that I need. And Riku's like, oh, just wait until the next time. When my friend and I catch you next time, you're dead. Because nobody trounces somebody with a good intention and gets away with it. Sure, I know that your brother is captured, but at the same time, there's another soul that's actually on the line. You know? So, basically... Oh, and I forgot to mention, Sora and Riku end up as, competitors. Well, more so Riku ends up as a competitor. Sora, you know, just watches and oversees the duels, the different duels that the Pharaoh goes through. Kind of like a Ventus scenario in Olympus Coliseum, where Ventus didn't get to play the games, but he got to help Hercules train. The same thing will happen with Sora and Riku. Riku will get to participate in the dueling, while Sora stands on the sidelines. Because Riku ends up knowing a lot more about the game than Sora does. So Mickey has Riku as a participant in the tournaments. Well, then all goes well. We defeat Pegasus and get Yugi's grandfather back. And that takes care of the first visit. The second visit would have to go with Battle City. Again. Riku participates in the tournament. Sora stays in the sidelines. But Riku is more so on Yugi's side. They both realize, like, say for instance, they both basically show up when, you know, when Battle City starts. But Riku is actually hiding, well, not more so hiding, but he ends up going with Taya and Yami to the museum, tagging along with them during the day to help Yami recover his lost memories. Sora shows up a little later after their trip to the museum, asks Riku how the museum trip went and how much of his memory has the spirit recovered. Riku says, well, Sora, he's recovered some of it, but I'm afraid there's still more missing. But I fear he may have to join this tournament in order to get the rest of it. I know this is going to be risky just like the last one, but I promised him I'd help him. So I signed up to become one of the Battle City competitors. I need your help as well. The slots are already filled, but you can help us still by being on the sidelines and cheering us on. We need you. Sora says, okay, you know what? I'll handle this. I'll do whatever I can. So then we do the, entries to get in, the 6 locator cards. Then, as soon as we do the first duel of the Battle City Finals, well, not particularly the first duel, Riku's still in the competition. Again, in this scenario, he's kind of more so, he's still in the competition, and Riku is actually a shield that can, And by shield, I mean someone who cannot be penetrated by Millennium Magic. Meaning that, like, say he duels Merrick, for example, and Merrick tries to send him to the Shadow Realm. Well, guess what? Riku's not going to be fazed by the Shadow Realm's magic, because he's dealt with other types of magic before. Lest we forget, he's dealt with the darkness, which is kind of like the Shadow Realm. So, in a way, it would make sense to have him do that. But, instead of Yugi having to blast Joey, you know, that whole stop babysitting me and start treating me like you're equal, he transfers that speech to Riku. Like, I know you've been protecting me, I know you've been protecting Yugi, but for once, can you please just blast me? I need to be in last place. To keep a promise that I made to both you, well, to all three of you, Yugi, and Mai. Because somehow Sora, you know, gets in the way when he tries to snag Mai, when Merrick tries to put Mai into the Shadow Realm. Instead of, you know, blasting Mai and sending her to the Shadow Realm first, Sora gets blasted and sent to the Shadow Realm. Then Mai gets it next. So this promise goes 3 ways. Anyway, Riku ends up blasting Joey, but not before crying, and was like, I really don't want to hurt you because my cards are actually really powerful, and I don't want you to end up meeting the same fate as the others. But Joey's just like, blast me anyway. Either way, with Yugi blasting Joey or Riku blasting Joey, he gets into last place. And then, we end up meeting up after the night with the Battle City, before, you know, during the night before the Battle City finals take place. Then we end up in the virtual world, which a lot of you are probably thinking, this could be a Space Paranoids copy. No. Space Paranoids was not fleshed out with trees and shit. Like, seriously. But this time, both Riku and Sora get to duel. This time, both Riku and Sora get to duel, and we get to fight Noah. We get through the different duels with the Big Five, plus fighting some Heartless with our actual Keyblade. Again, bug Heartless, but still. I'm talking like bees, flies, mosquitoes. You get the idea, you get the drill. And then, you know, both Sora and Riku actually get to duel because they're challenging everyone. The Big Five and Noah are challenging everyone for bodies to escape this virtual prison. So Sora and Riku still count. Of course, they would have to add 2 more cyber simulation pods, but, you know, the more the merrier. But then again, adding those 2 means also that they have a better chance of winning, Yugi and the others do. But Sora isn't as experienced, and he ends up joining, say he ends up in the duel against Nesbit. He ends up joining, Duke, Tristan, and Serenity. So it's 4 against 1. Either having him join that duel or having him join Joey in the duel against Johnson. Either way, Sora does end up joining a duel. Riku, on the other hand, he would be stuck basically with Taya, which he wouldn't be joining the duel though. He'd most likely be on another Arctic ice platform, restrained, and with each time Taya loses life points, not only does the spell affect her, but it affects Riku as well. Actually, no, it doesn't actually affect Riku. The different spells and stuff that would end up affecting the others don't really affect Sora and Riku, because it'd be like, how they ended up with the Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe the reason we're okay is because we're not from this world. Well, that still doesn't stop the Big Five from trying to snag them as participants. And the only way they can get out of that virtual prison is defeating the Big Five plus Noah at their own twisted game. But then again, what I said about the last scenario, maybe Riku could actually end up being frozen. But if Sora does join the duel against Nesbit with Serenity, Tristan, and Duke, we'll still keep the plot angle of Tristan being the one that's, fallen into the pit. And Serenity would be like, he said we'd only fall if we cheated. Well, Sora would be there to cheer her up. Or at least try to. Duke would help, and then those three would take on the rest of the duel. So then we actually end up winning, and both Taya and Riku end up getting knocked out because it's so cold. Sora ends up rushing to Riku's aid, and Yugi ends up rushing to Taya's aid, and they'd both try to get those two to a safe place, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, the first part of the Battle City arc, it'd be kind of cool. I don't know why, but I had working in my head a Taya and Riku relationship, and I can kind of see that. Here's the reason why: because they're both really smart. They're both really sweet, and at that point, when they're chained to the anchors, not only is Taya in the whole predicament with the chair, but Riku is also in the predicament as well. Riku could have also been mind controlled by Merrick. But at the same time, he could have been pretending that he was mind controlled by Merrick being a shield. He could have easily pretended to be mind controlled by Merrick just to find Taya and the others. Just to find where they, kept Taya and the others. This leads Taya and Riku to be, to like each other more and eventually end up in a relationship, so to speak. Which is why I came up with the scenario of Taya and Riku being in the same area in the virtual world, in the duel, against Randolph Crump III. But Riku wouldn't be dueling, Taya would be. And the fate of both of them hangs in the balance. She still chooses Dark Magician Girl as her deck master. And, basically, their relationship ends up carrying through to the end. And, you know, of course, by the Duelist Kingdom point, both Sora and Riku were already really close friends with the Pharaoh and Yugi, as well as, Riku being, close friends with them, as well as Taya and the others. But what really sparks their relationship interest is when Riku tries to save help Taya get through the fact that things are happening, and it's sort of like a Cloud and Leon scenario in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Hollow Bastion, where they had the scene where Leon was like, Sora, Donald, Goofy, and Cloud's like, relax. Those three aren't going down that easily. The Keyblade's chosen one. He's a lucky kid. But instead, Riku would be the one, telling Taya, relax. I don't think Yugi's gonna go down that easily. He was the chosen wielder of the Millennium Puzzle. He's a lucky kid. But don't worry. Your friends will get through this. Even though Joey is being mind controlled by Meredith, I have a feeling that he can break the control. So I wouldn't worry if I were you. So he basically essentially just calms Taya down from being scared. That way it takes her mind off of freaking out so she doesn't get that stupid crate on her. Well, Riku would get it too, seeing as how they're both underneath the crate, but he's trying to protect Taya more so than himself. Riku's trying to protect Taya more so than himself. But back to the thing with the virtual world. When Taya gets turned to stone, the moment Taya gets turned to stone and Yami's down, in that vision, this is where Riku would come into play. Riku would join Yugi and be like, that's not true, you're never alone, and I am not the only one, we're not the only ones who are here, come on, we'll show you. So then the Pharaoh sees everyone, even the room that holds his recent memories, and he gets back up, summons Kaiba's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and defeats Noah once and for all. Everything goes back to normal. The Battle City arc finishes with Riku taking Joey's place after he gets knocked out from the Winged Dragon of Ra. So instead of it being, this duel's still on, Wheeler has 30 seconds to get up, Riku could be like, you know what? Forget this. Jumps onto the platform, takes Joey's place, and finishes Merrick off. Well, not really finishes Merrick off. Well, no, because Riku actually would lose due to not having a card that can defeat the Winged Dragon of Ra. But instead of being sent to the Shadow Realm, Riku just passes out for a little bit. At this point, both Riku and Sora are down. So, the king gets called in as a last resort. Or, Teia's just like... Actually, no, let's go with Teia telling Yugi that he's gonna watch over Riku. Serenity ends up watching over both Sora and Mai. Then there's the final showdown between Yugi and the Pharaoh. Between Merrick and the Pharaoh, with Yugi and Merrick's good side being the people that pay the price for losing life points. But then the Pharaoh realizes that Riku and Sora may be unconscious at this point, but they're still there no matter what. They're still there no matter what. And nothing can take that away. After a few hardships, they manage to win the duel, but somehow Merrick's good side ends up taking control of Riku instead of Teia, and then Riku ends up getting up, going to the arena, just in the same fashion as Odeon, instead of staggering. And then Riku's like, Pharaoh, you'd better listen, and you better listen carefully. There is a way you can defeat my dark side. You just have to find it. And I have a feeling you have the initial card in your deck. And then afterwards, the Pharaoh draws his next card, and boom! There's Ragnarok. The card that can end all of it. And then the Pharaoh looks and goes, whoa. Riku, how in the heck did you get here? You know? He goes, and then Riku says to the Pharaoh, yep, it's me. I'm awake. I told you I wouldn't let you down. And the Pharaoh goes, I see that, but how? And he said, hey. Riku says, hey, you know what? You gave me the strength I needed to get back up without even realizing it. Even though I was knocked out, I could still hear everything that was being said. You told me something that you wanted me to remember, and that's what got me to wake back up again. You brought up the fact that we are close friends, and you couldn't do this without me. So, I fought, and within my fighting, I got back up again. Hello, Vanessa. Pharaoh. Hey. Would you like some help? Of course. Anything. Now, where did you leave off? Explaining the rest of the Battle City arc. Ah, perfect. Now, the rest of the Battle City arc could go as follows. After I managed to defeat Marek and save both Yugi and Marek's good side, I get the Winged Dragon of Ra. Then I end up facing Kaiba. At the point where the duel is actually going really well, but skip the transfer to Egypt. Fast forwarding to the point where I'm about to lose. Kaiba was about to destroy me, but I realized something. A card that Kaiba played could help me summon Joey's Red Eyes that I won from my first duel in Battle City. Oh, I forgot to mention that. It's okay. There was so much to go over, you end up glossing over some things, and that's fine. That's why I'm here. Thanks, Pharaoh. No problem. Anything to help out a friend. A very close one at that. So, I'm about to lose. But then, I was able to summon Joey's Red Eyes Black Dragon from Kaiba's card. He forgets that playing the Flute of Summoning Dragons worked on my hand too, and that's why he lost. I also forgot to mention the point where you mind crushed Kaiba in the first part of the series. Oh, don't worry about that. We could just have that non-playable. We can just have that during a cutscene. And then we can have, as well as Joey, Tristan, and Taya, we can have Sora and Riku wearing the friendship symbol as well. And they appear in this flashback. Yeah, see, there we go. But, back to the Battle City arc. I end up winning the entire tournament with the help of Sora and Riku. But I see that Joey ends up waking up and manages to get to me as the duel is progressing. I acknowledge that fact. Or after the duel is won, I see that Joey manages to get to me. But either way, he was still right there. That's true. He was snoozing, but his card wasn't. Right. Well put. Thank you. Well, then, after having the Egyptian God cards in the Millennium Puzzle, this world transforms from Domino City to 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. I defeat the different battles, as well as get into some fights with a few Heartless. We end up defeating Bakura, but he ends up reversing time to where he defeats me. I meet up with Hassan, and then afterwards, after I'm finally back from being found by Yugi and the others, well, of course, you know, Riku and Sora would tag along as well. Mana's line changes from, "So you 5 promised that you're friends with the Pharaoh, right?" to "you 7. Because Barbossa would still be in this game. But we could also do a scenario to where Barbossa doesn't necessarily have to be present. Because of Sora and Riku's Keyblades, they could act as compasses to lead Yugi and the others directly into clues. As well as through the tomb. They managed to get to the Valley of the Kings. Then managed to get to my original name. Yugi runs into Bakura, who has possessed Tristan a while back. But Yugi manages to win. The tomb is collapsing. And then we manage to defeat Zork. Then, once we defeat Zork, we go back into present day, have the final duel, and have Sora and Riku as spectators. Yeah? Oh, I see where you're going. That'll work. Penelope? What the? Hello. Long time no see, girlfriend. Say. Now that we've got the points down and how this could be a world, we kind of went over gameplay styles, we kind of went over characters in the same route, we went over plots. Now, what could be the potential Keyblade or Keyblades we could get from defeating this particular world? Well, I do have one idea. Go ahead, Pharaoh. What's your idea? Heart of the Cards. As the Keyblade name. The Keyblade's keychain could be a square that looks like a Duel Monsters card. The Keyblade, of course, would be brown with, well, that particular keychain would be brown. The Keyblade itself would be like blue to represent Yugi, mixed with a little bit of purple to represent me. Plus, purple is the color of both of our eyes. Violet, but I get the picture. Right. And the head could basically... The head could basically be like a circle with the friendship symbol inside it. You mean like the handle could go up and then swirl into making a gigantic circle, and then the friendship symbol could be the metal pieces that are inside the yup. Wow. That's actually a really good idea. And having it mixed with like blue and violet, that works. Right. But the keychain itself would be brown like the back of the cards. Wow. And say we were to incorporate character summons here. Hold on. Before we go into that particular detail, what was your second idea for a Keyblade? Well, Heart of the Cards was definitely one of my ideas. The other idea that I was thinking of would be Shining Friendship. Wow! And what exactly would this Keyblade look like? Of course, Shining Friendship is the name of a monster, but the handle piece could be yellow. Like a bright sunshine yellow, and then the handle piece could be like a baby blue with a swirly head, and have like the wings of the happy lover attached. Or, not the happy lover, excuse me. The wings of the Shining Friendship, the wings of the petite angel attached to it. Or the wings of the happy lover. Either way. No, I'll save that for my third Keyblade idea. So what you're saying is, the handle could have the wings attached. What color would the inside grip be? The inside grip that you grip onto would be black. And the handle itself, or the guard itself, could be circle. Just like the head of the Keyblade. But another Keyblade idea that I had, yes, I spilled it, would be Happy Lover. Happy Lover is also another dual monster that is really good. This particular Keyblade could have high healing abilities and high strength, much as the other two. High healing abilities and high strength. But the Happy Lover would be pink, similar to the monster's color, and inside where the handle is, there could be a heart at the top of the handle, and the piece that's connecting the key to the handle could be like a blue color. So it would look sort of like the Kingdom Key. Except it would be a different color. And the keychain would end up being similar to the heart that's carved in the handle. Similar to the heart that's on the handle. And when you attack with it, it has the effects of Happy Lover's heartbeat. Ah, I see. Yep. You said something, too, that you wanted to discuss summons as well? Yes. Yes, Pharaoh, I would like to discuss summons. In particular, if we were to get a character summon, I would say you. Why me? Because of the fact that, you know, you are the magical entity within this world. Well, the good magical entity, not the evil one. If we were to get a character summon, I wouldn't mind summoning you. And we could earn your summon by defeating, I would say, the first portion, really. So we could level you up. By the time you get to the second portion and then the third portion, you would practically be at max level and be able to do a shit ton of damage. I see. So I will come in handy in boss fights. More so, not just in my world, but in the other world as well. The other worlds as well. I also had a particular idea of you playing out in the world that never was as a random character if you didn't get a world. Ah. Now I'm interested. What do you have? Well, I'm thinking something more along the lines of, since you have ultimate power, but you wouldn't have your Egyptian memories back. Well, you would have some of them back, but you wouldn't have all of them. In the world that never was, you could tag along as, like, a party member. Sort of how... You mean sort of how Riku was able to tag along as a party member in Kingdom Hearts 2? Yes. But you would be more involved within the organization. Like, the organization is after you. Yikes. Great. Right? You may not have all your memories, but you do have, with your ability to forge the friendship with Sora and Riku, with getting Sora as the 13th vessel or so, Sora would have to give himself up in exchange to save you. Otherwise, Xehanort would have used me and transferred my heart into his. Or his heart into mine, so to speak. Right. Huh. This idea could work. Hey, Vanessa, I will have a hand it to you. Nice work. With all these different ideas. Keep this up, and you'll have a good amount of ideas coming up for Kingdom Hearts 3 in no time. Thank you for joining me as a special guest to help me out, and thanks to Penelope as well for joining me too. But I just thought that that would be a great idea for a world, because there was like several different plot points we could go. We cut the Orichalcos plot line, correct? Yes. That plot line would not work at all, and it would be bullshit. No offense. But it was just, honestly, when I seen that added to the series, it was filler. It was complete bullshit. You get the idea. It was it was abysmal. So I cut the or a Calcos portion of the series out. Because I really don't see how it would work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, thank you to Penelope. Bye for now. And thank you to the Pharaoh for joining me. Please, it was my pleasure. I had no problem with joining you at all. I heard that Joshua joined you in one of the last videos. Yep. And that's another plot line too for you to work as a random character. What if you were to work as a random citizen in Shibuya? Doing something like, you know how Yugi's grandfather owned the card shop? Oh! Hey, Yugi. Hey. I think I know where you're going with this. You're thinking it would work. You're thinking we could work in Shibuya by helping Joshua figure out the different statistical anomalies. And not only that, serving as a couple of shop owners if Sora and the gang needed different items and different weapons and different potions. Yes! How did you catch on that quickly? Let's just say Yugi knew where you were going with this. Did you know the whole time? Yes, I did. And I appreciate your incorporations towards all this. So do I. She always comes up with the best ideas. Ain't that the truth? Well, I appreciate you coming by, Yugi. No big deal at all. What did you think of my Keyblade ideas? Are you kidding? When I heard those different ideas, I just thought to myself, who is she? What is she? And where does she come up with these really awesome and not to mention brilliant ideas? So, do you think that there's a possible chance, and this is towards you and the Pharaoh, do you think there's a possible chance that this could be an implemented world in Kingdom Hearts 3? Well, you never know, it could happen. Well, you heard it here, folks. This has been Vanessa Espinoza, Penelope, Yugi Moto, and Atem. We're signing off for now, so like usual, comment, rate, subscribe to become a Keyblade wielder, and stay awesome. Peace.